My poetry's deep, I never tell.
MyT!
Half man, half amazing.
MyT!
Wait, is this season 2? I wasn't even ready yet. So what? Do I just insert a hot take here or something?
MyT!
LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to repeat, but they are going to play the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Championship, and the Jets are going to be in the Super Bowl. You don't get much hot take than that.
MyT!
Take that.
MyT!
Brooklyn style, baby. Brooklyn style.
MyT!
Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the MyT Sports Podcast. I am your host, Talent Tomar Taylor. All I do is take that. Woo! We finally start. We're here in South Florida, as you know. We're in the MyT Sports Studio. We finally here in South Florida, and it's finally starts to get dark at 8 o'clock. Like we finally got to that time of year down here. Listen, man. We get a chance to wrap up week 2 in the NFL. It is 76 degrees down here. It's feeling lovely. It's feeling nice. It rains, so we got a nice little coolness. Basically, the rain isn't leaving things humid and muggy anymore. We get to make our week 3 predictions today, and we get to introduce you to a new segment today. All right? And, yes, we will not get to MyT Mount Hatemore. Well, you know what I say. You back. You know what I say. Regardless of that time, and regardless of the weather, it's always a good time to talk some sports. So, let's start talking. Back at it like a sports fanatic. Listen, automatically, right off the bat, right? Like I said, we have some new exciting things that's coming in the workings for you guys. If you're listening now, I want to thank you. You're listening live on MixLR. We right now will no longer be on SoundCloud, but we are coming back to TuneIn Radio in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. We got some big things coming in there. But automatically off the bat, before things even get started, we already have breaking news for you guys. As flashes on the thing, if is the first round of the WNBA playoffs, and they've gone to, and this is going to be kind of out of order, which I was going to bring to you because of just basically the timing of the game. This game started at 6 o'clock today, right? We're coming down to the last seconds. We have about 17 seconds left. The Phoenix Mercury are up 87 to the Indiana Fever, who has 77. Indiana Fever are playing at home. Indiana Fever were actually, if I am not mistaken, they're the higher ranked team. They are the number 5 seed, and the Phoenix Mercury are the number 8 seed. But I guess, listen, anything's possible when you have Brittany Griner on your team. Like she's just a matchup nightmare and an automatic problem. But what makes this game, you know what? As I told you that this game is up 87 to 78 with 17.3 seconds left. This looks like Tamika Catchings, I think. Maybe it is. I'm not sure who. I don't recognize too many players by face, but I do see at least 4 noticeable players already on the court. But for Indiana, the thing that makes this game even more interesting, I'll talk about later in the show. Just remember, Phoenix 87, Indiana 78, 13.1 seconds left. I don't think there's any way Indiana comes back, but if they do, I will let you know. And I will let you know what makes this game so relevant. So as we start off, right, week 2 of the NFL basically it comes to a close. It's a wrap. It's done. It's finished. Kaput, finito, right? You can stick a fork in it. It's done. And the theme of this week, if you and me, was no, please. Why do the freaking football gods hate me? Please get up. Please get up. If you cherish my fandom in any way, shape, or form, if you want my dollars, you will get up. You like, you're telling them, I would say that you may have been even pleading with them, just
dirty Turkish back flat Martin, Philip Bucket Martin, Perkaluma Burton, Durden, Boston, Martin, and Attenborough.
And that was Tamika Catchings I was looking at as we see her hugging. I can't remember this point guard's name. Her name was like Arosu or something like that. Tamika Catchings had 13 points, 4 for 11 shooting, and 9 rebounds. As she's eliminated from, if I'm not mistaken, this may be her last game. She may be retiring after this. So she's about to go out with a standing O. And I have a friend of mine, like Christina, that works down there at the Fever Station. You know, that I know from when I used to live in Indiana, station over there. As we see players crying right now on the court, as they exchange hugs. Anything I told you about the live feed is coming. That's coming to you. Is produced live from ESPN. So let's get back into the theme of this week, right? And it started with, and you know what? Even there, automatically, we have technically what is breaking news as Browns rookie running back Corey Coleman recently just went down injured. And coming up next for the WNBA is going to be, actually right now as we talk, so even though this game is over, up next is going to be the Seattle Storm at Atlanta Dream. Seattle's number 7 seed, Atlanta Dream's number 6 seed. But rookie running back for the Cleveland Browns, as that game is already on the way. 6 minutes into the first, Seattle's up 5 to Atlanta 2. Which, listen, if the theme continues of the night, we're talking about both road teams that may be able to pull up an early victory and take a hold in these playoff series. So, like, we'll keep an eye on this and see what happens. So, and so like I said, the rookie running back from the Cleveland Browns goes down, and I'm just looking at it like the Cleveland Browns really just can't catch a break. They really can't, because they just lost RG3. On top of that, I just heard news earlier today that Josh Gordon, that's his name, Josh Gordon, is being brought up on charges for evading child support or something like that. So, and like I said, and you know, when they say they have zero tolerance, you don't know what kind of petty little rules they're gonna say. Like, listen, you couldn't even keep your nails clean, even though this may be something that he may not be able to fully control. You never know how they're gonna look at him. You know what I mean? Johnny Manziel recently, plus the other plethora of quarterbacks they've gone through over the massive amount of years. Like, seriously, if it wasn't for LeBron James, Cleveland wouldn't have. Well, I can say he wouldn't have anything, because the Cleveland Indians have recently started winning some games, and that's currently now who the owner of the Cleveland Browns are, and they are taking almost a similar route of how they rebuilt up the Indians, where they're just gonna stockpile assets, draft picks, human bodies. So as you said, like Corey Coleman goes down. And like I said, the theme of this week was like, hey, just please get up, please get up, please get up, please get up. As we saw literally player after player after player after player after player after player after player go down. Go down, go down, go down. And it was Corey Coleman, running back Danny Woodhead, running back Jonathan Stewart, running back Arian Foster, running back Doug Martin, running back Riles. Like, you understand? Running back Adrian Peterson. So do you know that Thomas Rawls is Adrian Peterson's backup? So there's some teams out here that just took like a double whammy, right? Or taking little double whammies, basically, right? Because we have now Jimmy Garoppolo, the quarterback from the New England Patriots, and he's going down, and he has an AC tear in his shoulder, and they don't know if he's gonna come back or play or not. We have DeMarcus Ware that's going down with an arm or forearm broken. As we see the Atlanta Dream that's recently take the lead back 9-8. All right, Adrian Peterson, as I said, he goes down. And as I told you, that Adrian Peterson is the start. If you don't know who Adrian Peterson is, then I'm just going to briefly tell you. As you know, starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings. And he goes down, and his backup is now questionable, Thomas Rawls. And this is a week after they lost their starting quarterback. Or 2 weeks after they lost their starting quarterback, however long it was. But oh, wow. Oh, listen, we just have all kinds of things happening today. As the LA Lakers and Meta World Peace / Ron Artest agreed to a 1-year deal. This is just very recently after I just shared something of Ron Artest's son playing in a high school game versus Shaq's son. So if you look for the MyT Sports page on Facebook, you should be able to find that video. A lot of interesting stuff I'll put on my MyT Sports page. You know what I mean? Some things that you like, some things you may not like, but I like to find little tidbits. Definitely, I'm big on my women's sports. Cause I'm big on women's sports. As you hear me even watching a women's basketball game as is in the background to talk about. Listen, it's playoffs, baby. It's playoffs. Like, let's not trip. And I wish I had the feed for that one, but it's playoffs. I'm gonna do my best in playoffs. Playoffs? We're talking playoffs? You know what I'm saying? Practice? Right, so we have Adrian Peterson go down. We have Jay Cutler go down again for the Chicago Bears. Doug Baldwin goes down. McCowan goes down. And like I said, right, we're just seeing bodies after bodies after bodies after bodies just fall. And luckily, like, it didn't affect too many of the games this week, but you can quickly see how it's gonna start affecting a lot of games in the near future. Like I said, look at New England for one. Like, that's their backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. This is after they just lost, after Tom Brady isn't gonna play for the next 4 games, and who knows what their next guy is gonna do. Like, he was a little iffy, so that's gonna come down. We have no breaking news. That button was just sensitive. So now we get down to basically last week's picks versus this week's picks, right? And last week we did pretty alright. We did pretty alright last week. And just to let you know, the MyT picks is brought to you by Multivest Games. Multivest, save more, play more. Right. So last week we ended up being 6. Well, I shouldn't say that. Last week we started keeping track of a record, right? And that record was basically how well were road teams really doing in the NFL. And week 1 kind of shows you what week 1 is about. Because for the most part, I mean, if you're under the same impression that I am, right? That the home team usually has the advantage. Like, home team kind of means something in the NFL. Unless one team is just grossly better than the other. You know what I mean? Most things given evenly, even slightly unevenly, you give a lot of home teams, especially of good teams, but you give them the advantage. But the first week of the NFL didn't show that home field advantage really meant anything. That very first week, they were 9-7. Now, granted, that's slightly just above 500, and you could probably look at, you know, a couple of blown games, like one by the Jets, maybe, you know, if I want to focus on any. Maybe one by Arizona that got away from them playing against a rookie quarterback. But not too many. But those two would have definitely shifted the matrix to at least make it even. But it didn't happen, which showed you that, hey, this home court advantage thing isn't that great in week 1, because obviously it shows us that everybody is still trying to find out what's going on. So the home court advantage really isn't going to be an advantage there, because we don't even know what any team is really. And everybody is just coming out there surprised, and you're just hoping for the best. Well, this next past week was basically a 6-10 week, where only 6 road teams won, which I think is going to be more of the theme. 5, 6, maybe 7 if you're lucky. I don't see it being so much in favor for any more road teams anymore throughout the league. But as I was trying to say earlier, that as all of these games started going on for week 2, right? And a couple of already must-win games, because, you know, teams didn't want to fall to 0-2. Like I said, there was a bunch of injuries that happened. And there was a very scary one that took place. Like, the scariest of them all. And we'll talk about that one when we come back from this break.
Let me put you on the game. Being taken advantage of isn't a game, and it needs to stop. Aren't you tired of being ripped off by those other guys? Then Head to Multiverse Video Games and get the value you deserve on your games and gaming products. Your games cost money, and you shouldn't feel like you're just giving them away. So why continuously buy a membership for prices and deals that you should be getting anyway? Multiverse Games not only has fair pricing and great trading deals, Multiverse has a wide variety of games, not just all your popular next-gen titles, but also all your favorite old-school titles and systems. Starting as early as Atari and Nintendo, to as current as PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and yes, that does include PlayStations, GameCubes, and Xboxes in between. They've been family-owned and operated for over 10 years, just off the intersection of 183rd and 7th Avenue in the Nurses Registry Plaza. That's conveniently located at 830 Northwest 183rd Street, Miami Gardens, Florida 33169. Believe it or not, just 5 minutes from Sun Life Stadium, $7.90 the ticket, and oh no, let's not forget Tootsie's Adult Entertainment Center. Multiverse Games, where you save more so you can play more.
And welcome back to the MyT Sports Podcast. I am still your host, Talent T. Taylor. And if you are listening, you are now listening on our new location. And most likely, probably going forward, probably going to be on our future location until we get back directly on TuneIn. And when we do, we're going to do it in a grand fashion as well. So please stay tuned for that one. So, as I was telling you before the break, that week 2 rolled around, and week 2 was kind of similar to week 1 for us, right? Here in the MyT universe, right? Where week 1 we went 9 for 7 with our picks, and in week 2 it's gonna wait. Did we go 9 for 7? I want to say we went 9 for 7. And in week 2 we're pretty much gonna end up doing the same exact thing. And I want to say I was better than 9 for 7 for week 1. I think I was 11 for 5, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, sorry, big mistake. I was 11 for 5 in that first week. 9 for 7 this week. So a slight drop off. And as I said, as I'm watching these games and we're watching everything, like I said, the scariest injury of them all to me, the one that really, turned my stomach, because I was like, ooh, that was just gruesome, was to wide receiver Brandon Marshall. Listen, I know what you're saying, that I'm sorry, I'm watching news as I'm just watching player after player look like they're going down for the Minnesota Vikings, as it seemed like they just signed Ronnie Hillman, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, Ronnie Hillman used to be the backup quarterback to, or no, he was the running back that lost his job to C.J. Anderson from Denver during those Peyton Manning years within the last 2-3 years. In these later Peyton Manning years. So, listen, and like I said, I did say the injury that made my stomach turn the most. And it was Brandon Marshall. And listen, and it was selfish, it was completely selfish reason, because listen, even when I saw Adrian Peterson's injury, you saw, the weight on his leg, kind of just buckle, his whole entire leg just kind of watch it again, you'll see it. But Brandon Marshall's leg twisted around. And I saw that again, and you saw him holding his lead. I was screaming exactly what you heard me saying. The theme of the show was seriously, why do the freaking football guys hate me? You can't be serious. I was cursing up a storm, and I was about this close from seriously tossing in the Jet season. And then Willis Reed from another former New York player. For the Knicks, at that though, Brandon Marshall comes back out. No gloves, no nothing. Talking about throw me the ball. Catches the ball right in front of the dude's face. Has open field and engages contact. And then balks at him. Like, yo, I'm gonna eat you alive all day. And I don't want to say that that's what sparked the Jets' offense, but I'm telling you, they caught a spark after that. And now we saw Non-Watch starting to use his size, and then we saw Brandon Marshall get some catches, and we saw Big Dick Decker, no homo, come up with some key catches. We saw the running back, Matt Forte, put up 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, am I saying this is going to happen all the time? No. I really do doubt it, but they looked impressive as the New York Jets ran over Buffalo for the take over the very first win of the night of Thursday Night Football. So the Jets take out. So let's do a quick recap of week 2. The Jets beat Buffalo in a Thursday night game, right? The New York Giants beat the New Orleans Saints, in which I thought was going to be like a 10 touchdown game, and they decided to make it an almost opposite. They actually had one of the lowest scoring games of this week, versus the last time they played last year, they had the highest scoring game. So completely bananas. But it did show you a couple things. It did show you that defense for the New York Giants are definitely getting better, and they've definitely gotten better from last year. And listen, this once again could be the home run, because I'm not that kind of New York Jet fan that I'm sitting here and I hate on the New York Giants. No, I only get annoyed by a couple of fans like Jack and Vinny sometimes. You know, what it really comes down to is that I'm a homer all day. I'm a homer all day through and through. So if I can see success for my city, my state, my borough, you know what I mean, my hometown, where I'm from, I'm gonna root for it. And right now, I see the Giants looking really good. And if they can and if reliable Eli can start getting that ball down the field to all these other receivers that he has now, utilizing other options, controlling the pace, and the defense is also starting to click. We're looking at New York Giants as one of the teams to beat. And right now, they are my very early favorite, if not my locked-in favorite to win the NFC East. Unfortunately, I had the Detroit Lions beating Tennessee and the Tennessee Titans ended up winning that one on the road. And I don't know if I'm overlooking Tennessee yet, and I really don't, and I'm not sure yet. But yeah, we'll see. Give it a couple more weeks. This may also be one of the very last seasons I may be picking Detroit. Once again, I don't know about that, because they beat Indy in week 1, but they lose to Tennessee in week 2, and Tennessee lost to Minnesota, who's a great team. So we're gonna see. Like, Tennessee and Detroit may both suck, and maybe right now the Tennessee just sucks a little bit less. And I do remember Detroit last week winning off of like a last-minute field goal. So we'll also see about them. Dallas beat Washington in great fashion. You know, and I should say great fashion. It's great fashion. I'm just happy that Washington lost for some odd reason. Like, I don't know, Washington is one of my favorite teams. And you know, they never really have been. Like, I don't know, something about them really appealed to me, and now that they refuse to change their name, not realizing that they're changing their name means that the refranchising of their company, which means that they get to sell all new merchandise because everybody's gonna get all their new gear. You know what I mean? How they don't see that as an automatic profit? I don't see it, especially when they're generating new jerseys every year anyway. He's just doing that to be stubborn. So, thought it was over too, right now. We're not done yet. So Houston beats Kansas City as Houston takes out another one. And this week I'm gonna hope that Houston takes business and takes advantage of another team that's gonna have struggling quarterback issues. Right? New England Patriots beat Miami. As Miami really lost opportunity again. As like I said, as we saw Jimmy Garoppolo go down, they had to go to their third string quarterback, who's making 1-yard passes and beating the Miami Dolphins. Listen, where the Miami Dolphins are looking, if the Dolphins beat anybody this year, I should say I'm gonna be surprised. I shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't say that because there's a bunch of teams that they should win. I mean, they lost to Seattle, by a couple of points, and then this time they lost to New England, who's just flat out surprising people with their play. Baltimore beat Cleveland, as I think every team should beat Cleveland. Cleveland is a team that I think should win a game because they're just all in all kinds of disarray. Carolina put a shellacking on San Francisco, as we see as we see as we hear basically silent chirps from all the people that was talking about the way that Colin Kaepernick protesting, the way that he was protesting, but all of those same people are 100% absolutely quiet over this last killing of an unarmed human being. You see the irony there, right? And you see why I keep calling you guys out every 2 seconds, because you are very convenient of when you want to have a voice, of when you want to talk about of how you're feeling, of how you feel that you're feeling slighted as in this country. But apparently people being killed innocently doesn't mean shit to you. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati, as Pittsburgh is a team that I'm going to constantly just keep picking for until they give me a reason to have them. Like I said, I'm not expecting Pittsburgh to lose more than 4 games this season. So, for the most part, they just got to surprise me with 4 games. Because every week I think I'm going to be picking them until they play the Jets. Arizona beat Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston went from basically a 4-touchdown game to a 4-interception game, like a complete 180-degree turn. Next, Seattle lost to the LA Rams, and that's one I probably should have saw coming, just based on the simple fact that most division games usually scare me, and the LA Rams have always been one of them teams that play division games well, especially when they play against Seattle. And I knew this, and I still picked Seattle, even after watching Seattle struggle in Miami, or struggle against Miami, and they went into LA. Oakland lost to Atlanta, and Oakland's gonna be one of them teams that's gonna rank my nerves. And if this is the way Oakland's gonna be, then I guess Oakland may just end up being like an 8-8 team. Listen, I'm sorry, Dre, but it is what it is. San Diego lost to San Diego beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville still is going to be one of them iffy teams too. Not going to be able to, I think, may not be able to have quite found their way to win. Like that's the thing between Jacksonville and Oakland. We just don't know if they've quite found their way to win yet. And that's the thing that's so frustrating about them, that you never know when there's going to be one of these 50-50 games. Denver beats Indiana, as Denver proves again that their defense is more than capable of winning games, even with a rookie quarterback. Basically a rookie quarterback. He hasn't played 16 games yet. Green Bay falls to Minnesota. As I told you, that's weird for Green Bay. And Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't lose in week 1, but they lost an opportunity there in a division game for a team that lost their starting quarterback and lost their starting running back, and their backup running back had to sit down early in that game as well, if I'm not mistaken. Thomas Rawls. So, the fact that Green Bay is lost that one, but like I said, they were in Minnesota, and it was Minnesota's home opener, and there was a lot of emotion and a lot of pride on the line, and those boys balled out. Minnesota did what they were supposed to. They won at home, brand new stadium. They got their very first victory. And see, there you go again. Well, there I go again. Little things like that should be known as a factor. Just like I should have picked LA and I should have picked Minnesota. Like you should have picked LA because LA was going home, and this was going to be their first game at home, and they're playing a division game. Minnesota, same thing, division game on their first game at home. Should have picked both of them. That's the difference between 9-7 and 11-5. And as I told you, the MyT picks are brought to you by Multivest Games, always. And the shocking one of them all, I shouldn't say that, yeah, and kind of the shocking one is me picking is Philadelphia going on the road and beating Chicago. As we're in the second quarter of this Seattle Storm and Atlanta Dream game. Seattle is up 28-23. Now, this hasn't been the case all game. The Dream did take this lead back a couple of times. I know right around, at one point in time, it was 9-8. And sometime in the teens, I believe they also took the lead back. But it looks like Seattle again has come back, and they've regained a little bit of control as they just won a jump ball. And they currently have the ball. And they're dribbling in and lose their balance. And a foul is called on Atlanta. 7:15 to go, 9 seconds on the shot clock. And as I said, when I get to this section, I'll tell you exactly why these games are so important. But until then, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, We're gonna switch topics. We're gonna talk some b-ball.
Nah, man. I'm not retiring.
I'll still break that old man's ankles.
Still gonna knock down, turn around, jumpers all day.
That ain't changing.
Man, I drop threes on them all night long.
All night.
All night.
I'll drain threes on you all night.
Man, I dropped 82 on you. Been Kobe for like 14 years.
I've been here for 16 years.
I won like 15 championships.
I've been Kobe for as long as I can remember.
Dude, your eggs.
Nah, man. I'm not retiring.
I hate Kobe Bryant.
I love that Mamba face.
I hate that Mamba face. I'll dunk on fools.
I'll still hate Kobe Bryant.
I'm still gonna hate him.
He's not done.
This doesn't change a thing.
I am Kobe.
I am Kobe.
I am Kobe Bryant.
I'll still be Kobe Bryant.
Product not yet ready.
Welcome back to the Mighty Sports Podcast. I am still your host, Talon T. Taylor. You're still with me. If you're listening, you are listening on live on MixLR. And if you found me here, I thank you for finding me, because that means that you found the new location that we're at as we make our transition over from SoundCloud to now MixLR. But also take a quick break from TuneIn Radio as we plan to come back the first week of October. So as you just heard, that was a commercial, honestly, because you probably couldn't figure out what it was, right? You probably wondering, what was that commercial about? What was it all about, talking about Kobe Bryant and a product not yet rated? Well, that was for a product made by Take-Two Interactive. Who is Take-Two Interactive, you ask? Take-Two Interactive is the company that owns 2K. 2K Sports, 2K Games, whatever, 2K. And that was a commercial, as obviously, for their newest basketball game, NBA 2K17, where I got at the one and only Multivest Games. Got it at a good price because, you know what? I was able to trade in a couple of games. I think I was able to trade in Final Fantasy Type O that got me good credit. I traded in Rainbow Six Siege 6, whatever this new one is. That gave me some good credit. And by the time I got credit for both of those, my game was basically half off. So, Multi-Best Games, listen, I keep telling you, save more so you can play more. That's how you get the money back on the trading value. So, as I told you, we was gonna switch into some basketball, right? Because, like I said, we spent a good portion of the show already talking about football, but also talking about injuries. And if we're gonna talk about injuries, then, you know, I also want to talk about Derrick Rose. Because what I want to know is did you hear what Derrick Rose said? Like, and if you haven't heard by now, like, then I guess this is why I'm here, like, to school you real quick. But I know it's been a while. We've been meaning to come to this, so bear with me as we take you down memory lane. Listen, bear with me as I have a whole bunch of new toys that I'm playing with. I am loving the new soundboard right now. so really do bear with me as I lose myself in here every once in a while. I don't know if that's really the tone I should go with this, right?
Do I feel lucky? What do you thought? Do I feel lucky?
Well, I really don't know if that's the way I should go with that, right? But I think you know, that's a little better. Thank you. See, thank you. Talking to the producer and you know, on the other side of the booth, like he knows how I like my swag. Listen, we gonna get you on eventually. Like we'll find a mic for you or something. Just keep up the good work back there. So if you haven't heard by now, Derrick Rose first started off by saying that the Knicks were a super team, and I can't deny what he's saying. And listen, and you have to kind of think like that. So let me just give you a quick piece of logic real quick, because basically what he is, he's still basically a competitor, and in his eyes he's still Derrick Rose, the MVP of the league, Derrick Rose, right? He's still that guy. Because he knows when he's not injured, he can be that. When he's not injured, he can be that guy. Well, he doesn't realize now he's just injury prone, right? But he's a super team, and you have to think like, listen, a guy, you have a defensive center back there that can handle the ball, that can command the defense, but also control some offense if you needed to. We got our 7'1" Lithuanian Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant is also 7'1", even though he likes to lie about his size. Having Derrick Rose, having Carmelo Anthony, and then listen, and even when you look at it, like most people are looking at Carmelo Anthony as, like, when he has talent around him, he can be Olympic Melo. And if Olympic Melo comes out and plays, then why not us? So when he says super team, like, he is really looking at them like they do have one of the better all-around teams, especially when it comes to names. Now, if this was like about 3-4 years ago, we're talking about something completely different, but we're talking about now. And there's one thing that I never do discount, right? Because I've seen it work for the Heat, right? And when it worked for the Heat, it worked in a grand fashion. I've seen it work for the Knicks. I've seen it work for LA and a couple of other teams, right? And when I say work, I may not necessarily mean that they won it all, but in some cases they did. That when you get an old veteran team, they kind of find a way to ball out and give it, especially when they feel like they have a chance. They find a way to ball out and give it everything they have. They put together the physical with the mental, and they coach up young guys, and they play through each other and they find a way to do things. Remember, this is technically what happened with Miami when they won a ring. Like, they basically took them to the playoffs and then told Dwayne Wade, like, listen, just throw yourself at the rim and get fouls, and we'll get a championship. And he didn't care, because he was like, listen, I'll benefit from it later, because he was able to sucker LeBron James to come down and get him 2 more championships. Right? We saw it again with the Knicks. When, like, the last time the Knicks had a decent team was because they had a veteran team. It was a team that had Jason Kidd, had Rasheed Wallace, had Marcus Camby, had Kurt Thomas. Look how many old funny days I'm talking about. And they balled out until they all fell one by one, but they were always constantly able to mentally push and feed through each other. We've seen this. In LA it worked. When we saw Karl Malone and Gary Payton and, team up with the Shaq and the Kobe, like, we seen it. Like, they work. Brooklyn had a veteran team with Derek Williams and a Joe Johnson and I think it was a Gerald Wallace. Initially it worked, and then things fell off because you can't hold on to those teams. Boston, it worked, and that was a promised land one. So I'm not saying that. And trust me, I'm not saying that Derrick Rose, Carmelo Anthony, and Joakim Noah is what Rondo and Boston and the guys in Boston was, or a lot of other things I mentioned. I'm just saying that veteran teams can work. So I can understand Derrick Rose saying to himself, "Hey, you know what? I have a super team on my hand." Now, what is getting me about what Derrick Rose is saying now is what he's been saying more recently. Because what he's been saying more recently, danger zone, that he doesn't know the meaning of the word consent. Danger zone. And so if you don't understand like what that particular context was, by him not knowing the meaning of the word consent, I'm pretty sure just the fact that you heard that, just the simple fact that you heard me say that XYZ big name athlete said that he doesn't know the meaning of the word consent, or any person, any guy, any male, any man saying that they don't know the meaning of the word consent, generally doesn't get followed by a very lighthearted or very positive story afterwards. And this is no different in the case of Derrick Rose. If you don't know what's going on with Derrick Rose, and I don't have all the details, I don't have much details, but I have enough details to tell you that, listen, you should go look up the details. It's pretty gruesome, it's pretty gory, it's gonna make you raise an eyebrow. It makes me raise enough eyebrow that I keep looking at it, that I'm like, Derrick Rose, somehow, some way, some shape, or some form, is going to miss time next year. And if it's not for injury, it's going to be for sounding like Mike Tyson. There's a girl that him and his buddies went over to their house. A girl that they met at the club that had told them maybe that, to come meet up at her spot. And when he got there, they were a little asleep, so he calls her, whatever, they finally get in. And basically it basically ends up being an unauthorized gangbang. Right? Now unauthorized, now see, that's two kind of like contradictory words, because the gangbang kind of assumes that there was consent, and then unauthorized says that there wasn't consent. So in the harshest terms, there's basically been a group raping of some girl that Derrick Rose is being accused of. They gang raped some chick, some drunk chick, from the club, and part of his story is like he didn't know, like he doesn't understand what it didn't like what she meant, like something like, because this is where the whole thing about, because that's why I say you need to read and do a little bit more research, because I'm gonna fudge up the words or his most specific words. So this is me summarizing, ad-libbing, putting it in my own words. But he had said something to the extent that they were all there. What did he expect? That they were all there for, something that nature. As I said, he comes off sounding real like Tyson-ish. And if you're too young to understand what the Tyson represents, what I mean, some chick came up to Mike Tyson's hotel room at 3:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? And then later on said that Mike Tyson raped her. Sorry. And then this is almost something similar with Derrick Rose, but this is with a group of gang of his buddies, and also we have different technology in this day, so there's a lot of text conversation that's going back and forth. Now, the odd thing about this is that I guess whatever happened couldn't be proved in a criminal court. All right, I don't know if it could have been proved in a criminal court. So she is now going the civil route, and as the civil route goes on, is basically where all of this information is where more and more details come out. So I guess there's a lot of information that couldn't come out during the legal route. Maybe that's how she won. Or Derrick Rose and his team won. Completely making speculations. I don't really know. Personally, I think Derrick Rose is kind of gay. Personally, I think he is gay. He's just completely hiding it. And listen, and this is how I know that Derrick Rose is just a retarded dick. And listen, I'm not wishing him any kind of ill harm. Like, I 100% wish that Derrick. I do nothing but wish the best for Derrick Rose. I wish that he is able to basically provide for his family and earn himself a 3 to 5 year productive contract somewhere. That's what I hope for him. I hope that he is able to earn himself a 3 to 5 year productive contract based off what he does this year. That's what I hope for Derrick Rose. I wish nothing but the best for him, but he's gay. And he's a dumbass based off how he used to handle his situations in Chicago, and now based off what he's saying with this consent thing, like he is a completely oblivious person. I don't think that one person could be that oblivious. And also, if he's saying that him and his boys went over to some chick to go gang rape them, isn't he married with a kid? And isn't this the same kid that he was talking about that he needs to be able to make sure he goes to their graduations, and that's the reason why he couldn't play? Well, how are you going to go to your son's graduation if you're in jail for raping abroad? Or raping a woman. I should say. I apologize, ladies. Listen, I'm sorry. Right? I really am sorry. Like, it shouldn't come out like that. So I get a little worried if Derrick Rose is going to play a game, right? But what I don't worry about is what I'm about to do on a Friday. Nope, not now, not ever again. Just like me, if you can, listen, stop worrying, stop thinking, and head down to Capone's nightclub in downtown Fort Lauderdale. This is where you will find DJ Scepter. It's gonna be mixing in the lounge room, right? Find him so you can start dancing and start drinking. Or if you're one of those people that need a vice versa, you start drinking so you can start dancing, but you make sure you do this with DJ Scepter. This is every Friday from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Ladies, you bring your sexy. Fellas, bring your swag. It's going down to Capone's nightclub, right? But wait, there's more. If you're trying to figure out what to do on a Wednesday, then you can find DJ Scepter at O'Malley's in Coconut Creek. That's from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's on 441, just between Coconut Creek and Royal Palm. Right? DJ Scepter plays everywhere that you want to be. You have a birthday coming up, call DJ Scepter. You have a wedding, call DJ Scepter. Birthdays, quinceañeras, bachelor parties, you call DJ Scepter. Ladies, you have a bachelorette party, DJ Scepter will play from a cake. I don't know if he'll really play from a cake. But DJ Scepter puts a royal touch on everything. For reservations, go to bookings at djscepter.com. And we are back. Thank you for still listening to the MyT Sports Podcast. And I'm still your host, Talon T. Taylor, the one and only. And if you're listening, you want to listen on Now Mix a Law. And I'm so sorry. I wish there was a way I can get the information got back over to you guys on TuneIn Radio. But I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a way. Because wherever there's a will, there's a way. That's what they say, right? That's what they say. If there's a will, there's a way. And I'm going to find a way to get everything that's on here right now to get this over to you guys, because I know you guys have been asking. I know you guys can't always get to me at 8 o'clock at night, but listen, this is what happens. But we're going to get to each other some way, shape, or form. Whether it's on MixLR, whether it's on SoundCloud, whether it's on TuneIn, where you can find a lot of my audio and content currently. Whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, and now on Snapchat. All of it. MyT Sports. That's MYT Sports. For the pages, it is MYT Sports. For the audios, places, it's the Mighty Sports Podcast. You know how that sounds.
MyT!
So, I'm getting back into basketball real quick, right? Because I just wanted to. Actually, you know what? We'll touch on this. We'll come back to basketball if we get a chance. We'll save this little tidbit for next week if we can. What we gonna do now, right? Is that we gonna finally get our week 3 predictions out the way, right? Because I definitely want to make sure I leave enough time to make sure I get this new segment into you guys. Because what happened is that as I'm preparing for the week, right? And I'm going through my picks, right? I still write a lot of things down, and I use a lot of scrap paper. And so, one day I have my picks, on one scrap paper. And another day, maybe later on in that day, but usually another day, I do my picks all over again. Not because I forgot or anything, because I know they're somewhere else, I just can't remember what they are at the time. So I do them all over again. And then I come back and I compare them. And I'll compare sometimes 2 to 5 different picks of me just picking randomly. And it usually plays out the same exact way. It's like taking a test. The stuff that I have an answer for, I'm able to pick those right away. And for the stuff that I don't have an answer for, I don't have an answer for. And I come back and I do more research on those, and I try to apply whatever experience and things like that I can remember. And that's generally how I take tests. And that's how I've basically done all my picks for this, for anytime I've had to do picks like this for the weeks. The MyT Sports, the MyT Picks of the Week. As we are now heading into halftime, I don't currently see the score, but they are interviewing a player, it looks like, from Seattle. Yes, it is from Seattle. So we have a lot of stuff picked out already, right? I know, I'm confusing you guys. You guys have no clue where my producer goes with our music, but this is how we do it. This is how he does it. Know what I mean? Fake gangster listening to rock. Alrighty. So for the very first game, right, which is going to be the Thursday night game of Houston versus New England, I surprisingly, which maybe is not surprising, maybe it is surprising, I have Houston taking care of New England. If you heard me during the first segment of the show, this is what I was hinting at. That I'm hoping that Houston continues to do what they've been doing, and they take care of business, and they beat New England, who is struggling with their starting quarterback play. And even if it is their starting, even if it is Jimmy Garoppolo is injured. J.J. Watt needs to do what J.J. Watt does and Watt all over his face. Just rub his Watt all over his face. Get into him. All right? I have the Giants winning over Washington. Finally we get here again, old dirty player versus Josh Norman, right? And we get to see if old dirty player is able to maintain his composure and come out with a win here. Because if he doesn't, we're gonna see. Like, seriously. But like I said, not even the fact that if they could come out with a victory, because I really don't care if. Well, I guess I do care if the Giants come out with a victory. I want the Giants to win. I want to see if Odell Beckham can maintain his composure. That's what I want to see. Because that's what I'm gonna be gauging on, because it's already being said already 2 weeks into the thing that this is what he does. He takes slaps at people, he takes cheap shots at people, and this is what the kind of behavior that we can't condone. So I have the Giants beating Washington, as this is probably one of the games I'm gonna pick to watch for the week, because of the marquee matchup between the quarterback and between the cornerback and the wide receiver, and the simple fact that for this week, while Josh Norman didn't follow Des Bryant everywhere, and while Josh Norman didn't follow Emmanuel Sanders everywhere, he's gonna follow old dirty play around all over the place. Because we do know one thing: Josh Norman has figured out a way to get it inside his head, and if he can find a way to do that, then Odell Beckham just may not be a factor for this game, and that may be the only way that Washington can win. Is everything else is slowly crumbling around Washington, because they are starting to lose faith in their quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Mr. You like that, you like that, you like that. Next up we have Miami. I have Miami beating Cleveland. And initially I didn't have this game picked, but as Cleveland started losing bodies, I figured that Miami shouldn't be able to do anything but win this game. This game was going to be part of the new segment, but not this time. I have Carolina going to staying at home and taking care of business as Minnesota comes into play. As Minnesota has just been losing too many weapons, and I don't know if they're going to be trust me, if Carolina's defense is anywhere slightly of what it was last year, they're gonna have a feast knowing that Adrian Peterson isn't there anymore. I have Denver beating Cincinnati, even though Cincinnati is at home. I have Arizona beating Buffalo, even though Buffalo's at home. Right? I have Tampa Bay beating LA. I have Pittsburgh beating Philly. The Jets beating Kansas City. And yes, that is a little bit more of a homie pick more than it is anything else. But that is the way that cookie is going to crumble. If my Jets are going to be the Jets that I think they are, these are the games that they have to win. And they need to get back on the ball and get back on the bubble, and they need to go up and they need to go 2-1, because that's exactly what the New England Patriots are set to be if they lose to Houston, and they kind of want to stay on pace with them as much as possible. So, like I said, there's a part of me that's a homer in me that is taking that as a pick. I do have Oakland beating Tennessee, as Tennessee is going to have to prove to me once again that they can win. And I don't know why I keep going for Oakland over Tennessee, or why I keep going for Oakland, but I am going for Oakland again on this one. I have Dallas beating Chicago as I don't know how Chicago is going to do any work. As of right now, only viable option I see right now is that they're going to get Langford the ball 82 times, which benefits me because I have him on my fantasy football team. But Jay Cutler going out again, it may be time for Jay Cutler to get out of there. They need to find a way to start working on his transition. And in the Dome for the Monday night game, I see New Orleans beating Atlanta. Right? So now, that leaves us with a couple of games here, right? As we didn't go through them all, obviously. There's about 1, 2, 3 games, right? 3 games that we absolutely did not pick. And why we didn't pick them? Because we have a new segment called Against All Odds.
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, Buck?
Where's the money? Yeah, you like that? That feel good? That feel good? Where's the money now? Where's my money? You got till 5 o'clock. You hear me? You got till 5 o'clock.
You freaking psychopath!
Clean yourself up.
As I said, this new segment is called Against All Odds. And what we do in this segment is that we are going to go against the odd maker, right? Not the odd makers, the odd maker. Who is this odd maker, you ask? It's one of my military coins. And it's going to be real simple. We're going to flip a coin for this. We are really going to take what's considered lady luck into consideration. Heads for the home team, tails for the away team. So the very first game that we left blank was Baltimore versus Jacksonville. Right? And we have heads. So for this one, we are picking Jacksonville. Yeah, this is how we're doing this. Next up, we have Seattle versus San Francisco. And this one comes up tails. So, and it's only because they've been struggling. And I don't even know why I'm going to pick Seattle, why I'm even struggling. It's only because Seattle's been looking bad lately. Of why I'm even considering going here. Really, every part of me tells me I should take Seattle. You know, like I said, remember what I told you before? That this is a division game. These are two rival teams. They kind of don't like each other. Seattle is actually the much better team here. But like I said, we're going to let the odd makers take this one. And last but not least, Indy versus San Diego. That one also comes up tails, as we have San Diego winning that one. Now, so those games are going to be completely up to the odd makers. And, you know, like I said, there's only one of them that I kind of would contest, and that's honestly the Seattle versus San Francisco. Seattle should win this game. Seattle's been scaring me lately. But we're going to give you a little bonus. We are going to do the division portion of this as well. So, the first one is going to be for New England versus Houston. And that one also says tails. So the odd maker on that one picks Houston. Next up is going to be Cleveland and Miami. And the odd maker goes with the home team on that one. And it takes Miami. Listen, the odd maker ain't that far off than what I was picking. Next, we have the Jets. Wait, where's Buffalo? I'm sorry. Arizona versus Buffalo. The odd maker takes tails, which is Arizona. Listen, me and the odd maker so far has been spot on with what I was picking. And last game, the Jets versus Kansas City, the odd maker. Of course, the odd maker takes the home team, and the odd maker takes Kansas City. So that's where we are going to disagree at. Where I have Kansas City and the odd maker has Kansas City, and I have the Jets. And guess what, folks? That is the show for today. I want to thank you for listening, howsoever that you may be listening today. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. You know what I always say. Thank you. Stay tuned. Stay blessed. And don't stress. Until next week, live at 8 o'clock on MixLR. This is the MyT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Talon Taylor.
Sorry, boys. All the stitches in the world can't sew me together again. Lay down. Lay down.
Don't forget you can find me
Always knew I'd make a stop there.
on Facebook, MyT
But a
Sports.
lot later than a whole gang of people thought.
Twitter, MyT Sports.
Last call for drinks.
SoundCloud.
Bars closing down.
TuneIn.
Sun's out. Where we going for breakfast?
Snapchat.
Don't wanna go far.
MyT Sports.
Night. Tired, baby. Tired.
My team!